go ahead and read this article because it's so good. And this article really does summarize why there's a certain mentality within the adult entertainment industry that we as outsiders, civilians, do routinely see. It's hard for a lot of people to understand how it could be that you have especially white privileged enabled males between the ages of 30 and I'd say up to 65 years old literally acting like they're jocks on a high school football team. Why do they act so immature? Well, a part of it does have to do with the vast amounts of adult content that they watch. It's not healthy. It is a sort of a psychological drug. I'm not under the impression, as of current at least, that the element of adult content or pornography as a concept should be illegal. But I do feel that as of current, what is passed off as the adult entertainment industry should be illegal because in actuality, it's just a front for organized crime and strategic abuse, specifically abuse of women. So if you want to check out this particular article I'm about to share with all of you, you can on a website called theconversation.com. And it's an article titled, Watching Pornography Rewires the Brain to a More Juvenile State. Pornography has existed throughout recorded history, transforming with the introduction of each new medium. Hundreds of sexually explicit frescoes and sculptures were found in the Mount Vesuvius ruins of Pompeii. Since the advent of the internet, porn has skyrocketed to dizzying heights. Pornhub, the world's largest free porn site, received over 33.5 billion site visits during 2018 alone. That's a lot of people, isn't it? Science is only just beginning to reveal the neurological repercussions of porn consumption, but it is already clear the mental health and sex lives of its widespread audience are suffering catastrophic effects. From depression to erectile dysfunction, porn appears to be hijacking our neural wiring with dire consequences. In my own lab, we study the neural wiring that underlies learning and memory processes. The properties of video porn make it a particularly powerful trigger for plasticity, the brain's ability to change and adapt as a result of experience. Combined with the accessibility and anonymity of online porn consumption, we are more vulnerable than ever to its hyper-stimulating effects. And I want to provide a little commentary there. Now, imagine, just really wrap your mind around what I'm about to say. As a consumer, you can be drastically affected by the amounts of pornography that you're inundated with and that you choose, because it is all a choice. It is all a choice that you choose to watch on the internet, right? So you think to yourself, okay, how does that affect life? How does that affect how men perceive and treat women in the workplace and everyday society? But imagine being someone who not only watches adult content because you want to, but imagine being someone who watches it for a living. Like this guy, Chris Thorne of X-Critic. That's his job, to watch pornography, to watch adult content. So he doesn't have a normal human mind. He's something different, something else, something that I would advise any healthy, sane woman in America to steer clear of. He's not dateable. He's not someone that would be healthy for you to be friends with, at least from my perspective. And someone like that, I would never leave a minor around, especially not a teenage female minor. Allow me to continue. Impacts of porn consumption. In the long term, pornography seems to create sexual dysfunctions, especially the inability to achieve erection or orgasm with a real life partner. I'm going to interject again. Notice how the adult entertainment industry still, even though I haven't used this particular alias in years, they still refer to me as Monica Foster. The reason is that it scares them to death that I am real. A real person living in the suburbs, walking around, going to the grocery store, running errands, living a normal life, working a normal job, being of solid adult age, almost 41 years old. I just tweeted a little bit earlier that a barely legal teen is the dream of the majority within today's adult entertainment industry. But you want to know what their worst nightmare is? A 40-year-old woman. Especially a 40-year-old American woman. Well, let me just add sprinkles on the cupcake. A 41-year-old African American woman. To try to explain these effects, I'm going to continue. Some scientists have drawn parallels between porn consumption and substance abuse. Through evolutionary design, the brain is wired to respond to sexual stimulation with surges of dopamine. This neurotransmitter, most often associated with reward anticipation, also acts to program memories and information into the brain. The adaptation means that the body requires something like food or sex. The brain remembers where to return to experience the same pleasure. So that's why I'm saying pornography is a sort of a drug. It's a psychological drug. And it would be very difficult for someone to quit. It would be akin to what I've done in regards to cutting nicotine out of my life. It takes a lot of willpower. It takes a lot of willpower. It's not something everybody can do. So when you look at a lot of the hateful things and the immaturity of men in the adult entertainment industry, or who defend it, or who are all about it when it comes to the abuse and the organized crime, they're broken. And they're addicts. And they're not well. Not at all. Instead of turning to a romantic partner for sexual gratification or fulfillment, habituated porn users instinctively reach for their phones and laptops when desire comes calling. Furthermore, unnaturally strong explosions of reward and pleasure evoke unnatural strong degrees of habituation in the brain. Psychiatrist Norman Doidge explains, quote, "Pornography satisfies every one of the prerequisites for neuroplastic change. When pornographers boast that they are pushing the envelope by introducing new, harder themes, what they don't say is that they must, because their customers are building up a tolerance to the content." And I'm going to interject again with some commentary. That brings us to the situation that has been in the courts as of recent, that mainstream media has covered, in regards to the GDP, Girls Do Porn, legal situation and case, and its linkage to the online racist, misogynistic, and homophobic hate crime, which was once known as PWL, aka Porn WikiLeaks, which was founded by an individual known as Donald Carlos Sion, but that has since transformed into something else. I won't say the name of the website, But what I will say is that the reason that that site exists is because pornographers, as of current, are dependent upon it. Their product isn't effective anymore. People are desensitized, for the most part, to even the most hardcore of acts due to Pornhub. So they have to take it to another level. You know what that other level is? Offline, real world. Chasing, stalking, harassing, intimidating, pushing to suicide the actresses and actors who played characters in the content. Pornography is not getting people off anymore, and the pornographers know it. So now they're attempting to legally create snuff films. Would you like to know where you can witness proof of that? The individual who stalked the Christian advocate and actress and activist known as Shelley Lubin, aka Shelley Moore. That man who stalked Shelley Lubin till the day that she died, he documented it all. In that documentary, from my perspective, it's just a snuff film. Nothing more and nothing less. And if that snuff film is deemed as legal, and if he continues to walk free, then what he's done will be replicated upon countless hundreds, maybe thousands, other current, retired, and ex sex workers. And men like that man, known as Whiteacre, who stalked Shelley Lubin to the day that she died, will become very wealthy and very powerful. But maybe that's just how it's supposed to be, isn't it? Porn scenes, like addictive substances, are hyperstimulating triggers that lead to unnaturally high levels of dopamine secretion. This can damage the dopamine reward system and leave it unresponsive to natural sources of pleasure. This is why users begin to experience difficulty in achieving arousal with a physical partner. And women out there, especially those of you out there who are dating, do not watch adult content with your partner as of current. When it's safe to do so, I will let you know, but it's not safe right now considering the nature of the content, how it's put together, and how it's distributed. The other compelling finding in this study is that compulsive porn consumers find themselves wanting and needing more porn, even though they don't necessarily even like it. It's just like cigarettes. This disconnect between wanting and liking is a hallmark feature of reward circuitry dysregulation. Following a similar line of inquiry, researchers at the Max Planck Institute in Berlin, Germany, found that higher porn use correlated with less brain activation in response to conventional pornographic imagery. This explains why users tend to graduate to more extreme and unconventional forms of porn. And it also explains the level of stupidity that people are witnessing within the society that labels itself an industry and dubs itself the adult entertainment industry. This Chris Thorne, look at how stupid it is what he's doing in regards to Melissa Hill. Straight up dumb. Look at Dawn Vanguard and how stupid she's acting. It's because she can't stop watching adult content. I've witnessed other adult entertainment industry bloggers. That guy TRPWL, Sean Tompkins. When he first came on the scene, I mean, it seemed like his intelligence level was so much higher. Now, he's like a submissive little bitch. And I've watched his ability to write decline. I've watched his ability to communicate decline. He even sounds different on the phone since he's been attached to the industry. And it's not like he came in early in life and, he's just matured. He came in as an old man. He's still an old man. It's the porn. It's killing him. It's killing his brain. Pornhub analytics reveal that conventional sex is decreasingly interesting to users and is being replaced by themes like incest and violence. The perpetuation of sexual violence online is particularly troubling, as rates of real-life incidences may escalate as a result. Some scientists attribute this relationship to the action of mirror neurons. These brain cells are aptly named because they fire when the individual performs an action, but also while observing the same action performed by someone else. The regions of the brain that are active when someone is viewing porn are the same regions of the brain that are active while the person is actually having sex. Marco Iacobini, a professor of psychiatry at the University of California in Los Angeles, speculates these systems have the potential to spread violent behavior. Quote, "The mirror mechanism in the brain also suggests that we are automatically influenced by what we perceive, thus proposing a plausible neurobiological mechanism for contagion of violent behavior." Though speculative, this suggested association between porn, mirror neurons, and increased rates of sexual violence serves as an ominous warning. While high porn consumption may not drive viewers to harrowing extremes, it is likely to change behavior in other ways. Moral development. Time to talk about that now. Porn use has been correlated with erosion of the prefrontal cortex, the region of the brain that houses executive functions like morality, willpower, and impulse control. To better understand the role of this structure in behavior, it's important to know that it remains underdeveloped during childhood. This is why children struggle to regulate their emotions and impulses. Damage to the prefrontal cortex in adulthood is termed hypofrontality, which predisposes an individual to behave compulsively and make poor decisions. And that paragraph there, that paragraph that I just read, is why in the very near future, it will be illegal to perform an adult content in the United States of America under the age of 25 years old. Reason being that the human brain is not biologically fully developed until the age of 25 years old. That is a scientific fact. Yeah, so all this adult content featuring the teens, kiss that goodbye. It's somewhat paradoxical that the adult entertainment industry may revert our brain wiring to a more juvenile state. The much greater irony is that while porn promises to satisfy and provide sexual gratification, it in actuality delivers the opposite. I like that paragraph. Paradoxical, not paradoxical, paradoxical, that's the word. It's a paradox. Adult entertainment. Adults, it's not really for adults. It's not, they don't want you to be an adult. They want to revert you, make you a kid again. Because a lot of them are pedos, whole bunch. When I started bringing attention to the fact of the linkage between child abuse and pedophilia, when I linked that to the adult entertainment industry back in, what year was it? 2013, I think it was. That's when they started really coming after me. Because I was right. I was right, and scientists are proving me right now. Adult entertainment industry is the wrong word for that industry, because it's not adult entertainment. Not at all. And they don't really want real adults in that world, because real adults, you can't control a real woman. You can't control a real man. You can't intimidate a real man. You can't intimidate a real woman. Only a child mentality really takes orders. I don't do that. Real adults don't do that. A real adult thinks for themselves.